students. I really hope that you are okay. In this occasion, we are going to have a different class and in a different schedule. In this occasion, I am going to give you, yes, some tools to develop and learn the topic for the day. Please be careful with the links. Send me your evidences by the chat. And why is the reason of a different schedule today? Today, I will have a trip. So I wouldn't stay with you in our common hour, okay? So no problem. You can watch the entire class. You're able, I'm really sure that you're able to share your answers, share whatever you answer from the next activities by this medium. Okay, so let's start. What is the topic of the day? Today, we are going to talk about countable and uncountable nouns. Yes, this is a sequential activity. Yes, in which we are going to use, or better, learn vocabulary, watch some videos, identify how to use how many and how much when you use countable or uncountable names. We are going to create a recipe, yes, with the knowledge that we learn, and then we complete the activity with a questionnaire. So let me start sharing with you a video in which mm, we are going to learn what are countable and uncountable nouns. Yes, so this is the video. I am going to turn my microphone off and my camera too in order to get a better watch of the video. With your permission,
Countable and uncountable nouns, food and drink. All nouns in English are either countable or uncountable. A countable noun is a noun we can count. For example, a tomato. We can say a tomato, or we can say one tomato. Or we can count them. 3 tomatoes. An apple. We can say an apple. But why do we use an? If the noun starts with a vowel sound, A, E, I, O, or U, we use an. For example, an apple, an egg, an ice cream, an orange, an umbrella. Now back to the apples. We can count apples. 4 apples. Other examples of countable foods are pears, oranges, bananas, carrots, cucumbers, grapes. Burgers, pizzas, cookies, fries, eggs, and potatoes. An uncountable noun is a noun we can't count. For example, milk. We can count the container, a glass of milk, 2 glasses of milk, but we can't count the milk. So with uncountable nouns, we often use the word some. Some milk. Another example is soup. A bowl of soup. 2 bowls of soup. Or some soup. Other examples of uncountable food and drinks are butter, cheese, flour, sugar, jam, bread. All liquids are also uncountable. Water, tea, coffee, soda, juice, and oil. But why are countable and uncountable nouns important? Because it can change the grammar that we use. For example, a countable noun can be singular or plural. An apple, some apples. An uncountable noun is always singular. Some honey. There is an apple. There is some honey. There are some apples. Some nouns can be countable or uncountable. For example, fish. One fish, two fish, some fish. Chicken. One chicken, two chickens, some chicken. Cake. One cake, two cakes, some cake. Now let's practice. What is there in the fridge? There are some carrots. There is some water. There is some jam. There are some bananas. There are some apples. There is some milk. There is some juice. There is some cake. There is a chicken. There is a fish. There are some eggs. Thanks for watching.
So, my dear students, in this video we watch some countable and uncountable nouns, but there are some concepts that we need to recognize, okay? That concepts in this case are, for example, this word, nouns. There are some students that have difficult with the meaning or how to use this word, nouns. I am going to switch off to Spanish to explain nouns. In Spanish, nouns means sustantivos. Yes, sustantivos. Nouns are all the names that we give to the elements to identify them. Son los nombres que se les dan a los elementos para identificarlos. Nouns, okay? If you use your dictionary to translate this word, you can watch that the meaning is nombre or sustantivos. Entonces, los nombres o los sustantivos que se les dan a los elementos. Example, I got in this case on my hand an element called smartphone. That's the noun of this element. El sustantivo que se le dio a un elemento que tengo en mi mano es smartphone. Ese es el nombre que se le da. So let's continue with another concepts here. He said here, why do we use an? This is another concept that is necessary to recognize. When you use a noun that starts with a vowel, the vowels are A, I, E, O, U, we use an. Now, let me explain it in Spanish for your knowledge. Cuando utilizamos sustantivos que empiezan con una vocal, I'm talking about English nouns, estoy hablando de sustantivos en inglés. Utilizamos el artículo an. Si el siguiente sustantivo empieza con vocal, utilizamos an. On the other hand, if the next noun starts with a consonant, we use a, okay? Be careful with that. That's another concept. Like we got here some example that you watched on the video, and then okay. Mm, she said that we can count some elements as apples. Be careful or better. Let's watch the clue or what all the next vocabulary have in common. Apples, pears, oranges, bananas, carrots, cucumbers, grapes, burgers, pizzas, cookies, fries, eggs, potatoes. What did that elements have in common? ¿Qué tenían en común todos esos elementos? Yes, all these elements end with an S. Yes, todos los elementos terminan con una S. Pay attention. Yes. So all these elements ended with an S, so they are countable. Los podemos contar porque sí, los podemos coger uno por uno y contarlos. Yes, we got here two burgers, dos hamburguesas, one and two. Same here, two pizzas, one and two. In this case, one, two, three, four, five cookies. We can count them. Los podemos contar. ¿Mm? Tienen un número definido. Fries. Okay, I'm not going to count the fries, but we can do it. Yo no voy a contar las papas fritas, pero las podríamos tomar por una, perdón, y sacarlas y contarlas. We can count the eggs. Podemos contar los huevitos. One, two, and three. Same with the potatoes. Yes, so uncountable noun, it's a noun we can't count, no podemos contar, we can count milk. Alguien diría, profe, sí podemos contar porque hay un vaso de leche. Yes, that is correct, but we are counting the glass, not the milk. Contamos el vaso, no la leche. ¿Qué pasa si yo riego la leche? La saco del vaso. No se puede contar. It's an uncountable noun. Another example, yes, she said glass of milk. Ella contó el vaso. Okay, next one. Soup, same. Ella cuenta, más adelante cuenta el plato, el plato de sopa, pero ella no puede contar la sopa. Tú no puedes contar la sopa. Contamos un plato, dos platos. We count one bowl, two bowls, etc. Okay? And another concept that she said, mm, okay, with these elements, butter, cheese, flour, sugar, jam, bread. We can count the pieces of bread in this case, or the spoons of jam. Podemos contar las piezas de pan, las cucharadas de mermelada, spoons of sugar, etc. Piezas o cucharadas, porciones. Liquids are also uncountable. Yes.
All
Liquids.
liquids are also uncountable.
Yes. Water or water, whatever you pronounce it. Como sea que lo pronunciemos, en el caso de los que les gusta más la pronunciación británica y los que les gusta más la pronunciación americana. We can count the glass of water, but we can't count the water. No podemos contar el agua, contamos los vasos. Same with tea, coffee, etc. And here,
But why are countable and uncountable nouns important?
she said, make that question. Yes, because we use another expressions to count or to describe how many and how much, yes, elements we have. Here, she's using and, some, to, and there is, and there are. Here is another important concept. Aquí tenemos otro concepto importante. There is and there are. Dear students, this is easy. What happened? When you use there is, it's just one element. The element it's a singular. Yes, but when you use there are, you're talking about two or more elements because it's in plural. Cuando utilizamos there is, estamos hablando de una sola, de la unidad, de la singularidad de un elemento. Cuando utilizamos there are, estamos hablando de algo, de elementos en plural. These concepts are important here. There is and there are. So, okay, she gave another examples and here a practice. Pay attention. She said there are some, but the question is,
There are. What is there in the fridge?
what is there in the fridge? That's the main question. That's our question to answer. So she start with there are. Pay attention with there are. There are, it's when you got something in plural. Yes, elements in plural. Some carrots. She said carrots. We can take out the carrots of the fridge and count them. Podemos sacar las zanahorias y contarlas. Some carrots. She is not counting the carrots, but she's saying that there are some carrots. Yes, ella no las está sacando y las está contando, diciendo que algunas, but we can count them, pero las podríamos contar si quisiéramos. Another example, there is some water. Yes, some water, some water. Mm, we can't count the water. Ella no está contando el agua como tal, ella está diciendo que hay algo de agua. Podríamos sacar los vasos, los frascos, en lo que sea que esté empacado el agua y contar esos elementos, pero no el agua. So, water, it's in singular form, so she was using there is. Another example. Sure.
There is some jam.
Some jam, same. She is counting just one bottle of jam. Hmm, I think that, but we can't count the jam. The bottles, yes. Podemos contar las botellas mm, de mermelada, pero no la mermelada como tal. Next example, some bananas. And here are another example that I was saying to you. When you use a plural element or a noun in plural form, we can count them. In this case, in the fridge, there are, I am going to change this sum for 4. Cambio este sum por el número 4. There are 4 bananas. Lo puedo contar. I can count them. Puedo contar las bananas. And same with milk. Same with juice. We can count it. Some cake. Okay. In this case, cake, we can count the portions, the pieces. Podemos contar las porciones. Okay. And finally, a fish. Okay. A fish, un pececito. I can watch it. And some eggs. But we can count the eggs. Yes, 7 eggs. Okay, dear students, I hope that you understand that part of the activity, countable and uncountable elements. Don't forget, some elements that we can count, they end with an S, is name. Example, I got here one smartphone, two smartphones. Yes, we can count them. Or my cat has some water. I can count the water. Yes. Now we are going to continue with an activity that I am going to share with you. Yes, by the chat. I am going to share with you the entire links for your practice and that for your reviewing. Yes. So the link is a Quizlet. Yes. I am going to share the link and you will find the page as we watch here. Okay. Please, when you get into the tool, let in here when we watch review of class. Here, in Spanish, repaso en clase. Van a entrar donde dice repaso en clase. Yes, you can play the games, no problem with that, but let's review this vocabulary with this element, review in class. Okay, you are going to click here. Yes, in Spanish, fichas, click, and we're going to have some vocabulary to practice with an activity using that vocabulary. Then we are going to use the vocabulary to identify some countable and uncountable elements. So start with protein foods. Protein foods. After this vocabulary or after this, what is this? Yes, here. Or better, like this. Okay, after that, we got a statement. Yes, and with this statement, we need to answer or select the correct answer. Let me give you an example. Protein food. Protein foods are foods that give the body protein to help it grow and stay strong. For example, meat, fish, cheese, dairy products, and poultry. We need to identify here the vocabulary, okay? Foods, it's in plural, it's a noun in plural. Help, grow, there are some verbs. Stay strong, and some examples of protein foods. With this vocabulary, we need to answer. Okay, better. More vocabulary: grains, fruits, vegetable, vegetables, better, apple, banana, carrot, and now we need to answer some questions. What are the questions? Huh? Lemon, yes. What happened here? Orange, lemon, onion, strawberry. A lot of vocabulary about food. Yes. So with this vocabulary, I am going to practice with questions. Yes, we watch 10 words and then practice with questions. I was telling that to you. Yes, you need to log in. No problem with that. And after that, these are the statements and the options to answer. Let's start. Protein foods are foods that give the body protein to help it grow and stay strong. For example, meat, fish, eggs, cheese, dairy products, and poultry. So this statement, uh, it's one of these elements. Are protein foods dairy foods? Are protein foods citrus proteins or lipid foods? Give your answer. So in this case, I am going to choose protein foods. Yes. Next one, read the statement and choose the correct answer. Grains are seeds from cereal plants that people eat as food. So using that um, statement, you need to select the correct vocabulary here. Fruits, grains, vegetables, or rice. It's necessary that you remember and identify what is saying the statement. Yes, I am going to check or choose grains. Yes, because the statement was talking about grains. Fruits are the sweet and, let me read here a bit. Fruits are the sweet and edible parts of plants that contain seeds. Okay, so we got here some vocabulary, and my statement was talking about grains, cereals, vegetables, or fruits. Yes. It's an easy activity to identify vocabulary. Yes. In this case, vegetables are parts of plants that people eat as food, such as roots. What is roots? Hmm? Dear students, if you don't recognize any of these vocabulary, don't hesitate to look them on your dictionary and identify the meaning in Spanish. In this case, roots are in Spanish, yes, raíces, okay, leaves, stems, or flowers. So my statement was talking about vegetables. Yes, easy. In this case, we need just recognize the word or the image in Spanish. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. In Spanish, we got manzana, carrot, potato chips, pear, apple. That's an easy element because we watch this element on some of our mm, internet devices. Yes, easy. Okay. Next one with the same proteins, foods, or vocabulary. In Spanish, banana, and in English is the same. Yes, that's an easy activity, dear students. Then you watch the picture, the Spanish, zanahoria, and the meaning in English, garlic, knob, carrot, goody. Yes, so now um, you can hear, this is the first step, you can hear, read, or select your best.
Protein foods. Protein foods are foods that give the body protein to help it grow and stay strong. For example, meat, fish, eggs, cheese, dairy products, and poultry.
Here you can practice the pronunciation of that elements. What was the hardest? Perhaps here. This is a word that is common that the students pronounce in incorrect form. So pay attention to the pronunciation.
Vegetables. Vegetables are parts of plants that people eat as food, such as fruits, leaves, stems, or flowers.
Vegetables. Okay. And when you finish this part, let's continue. This is another part. It's similar. Hmm? Yes. We're going to do it so fast. Here we got an statement. Daily foods are foods that come from milk, usually from animals such as cows, goats, or sheep. For example, cheese, yogurt, milk. Yes. So what we have to do here, uh, identify the main word here, or better, what is the main vocabulary or the title of the vocabulary that you can watch in this statement? For me are daily foods. Daily foods. What if I write it same? Daily foods. Yes, let me check. Why do I choose that answer? Because the statement is talking about daily foods. The statement is saying to me some important that about daily foods. So let's check. Yes. Okay. Same with the other ones. You need to identify the main word, the core word in this statement. Protein foods are food that give the body protein, uh, etc. What is the main word here, or what's the principal idea? Protein, food. Yes. protein foods. And let's check. Goody. Dear students, that's an element that I am going to share with you. Okay? Don't forget that you need to complete the entire activity until you get the step number 40, and then you mm, are going to send me your results taking a screenshot by chat. Let's continue. I hope that you understand that. Really sure that you understand that. Now, we are going to continue with another short video with this couple of um, they are two concepts that they are so important. They are very important for this our main topic. Okay, so let me turn my camera on and my microphone on off. I'm sorry, my camera and my microphone off.
Much, many. In this lesson, I will go through the difference between these two words. Essentially, they both mean the same thing. They refer to a large amount of something. However, we use them in different contexts. Much is used with uncountable nouns. It refers to a large amount. Now I will go through 3 types of sentences in which we can use the word much: a positive sentence, a negative sentence, and a question. For example, the party was so much fun. The uncountable noun in this sentence is fun. I didn't get much sleep last night. This is an example of a negative sentence. The uncountable noun in this sentence is sleep. How much money do you have? Many. Many is used with countable nouns. Again, it refers to a large amount. For example, she has many friends. The countable noun in this sentence is friends. So we're saying that she has a large number of friends. There aren't many people here. The countable noun in this sentence is people. How many properties do you own? The countable noun in this sentence is properties.
So, my dear students, in this part, we are going to make a review about some concepts that we watched in the video. Yes, that concepts are many and much. They are used. They are used to identify the quantity of elements you have, using how many and how much. Yes, so let me check here something
Much is
with no sound. We use much or how much to question about uncountable nouns. Pay attention, a large amount, cantidad. And she said she gave us an example. The party was so much fun. She explained us that fun is an uncountable noun. And why? Because we can't count the fun. Yes, in this case, the uncountable noun is fun. Nosotros no podemos contar la diversión. Yes, fun means diversión. ¿Qué tanta alegría? Mucha, mucha alegría, dice ahí. O muy. The party was so much fun. O diversión. La fiesta fue tan divertida, nos la puedo contar. So we used much. Another example that she gave to us is I didn't get much sleep last night. In this case, the uncountable noun is sleep. No podemos contar el sueño, el dormir, ¿ok? I didn't get much sleep last night. That's another uncountable noun. And the last example here is money. What happened here? You say, yes, I can count my money. No, you can count your coins or your bills. El dinero, la palabra dinero es una palabra incontable, profe, pero yo puedo contar el dinero. Puedes contar, tengo tantos billetes, tantas monedas. Los elementos como tal los cuento. And on the other hand, we use many for countable nouns. And here we got some an expression and a concept that has something in common with the previous video, that video that we used to start this lesson. Tenemos algo en común con el video con el que iniciamos. Ya vamos a hablar de él. Countable nouns, we use many or how many to um, ask about the quantity of elements. A large amount, también hablamos de muchos, pero en este caso, we can count. What is the element here? What is the countable noun? Friends. Nosotros podemos contar la cantidad de amigos. She has many friends. This is an affirmative statement, ¿ok? Es una oración afirmativa. Podemos contar los amigos. Yo puedo quitar ese many y colocar ahí una cantidad. She has 2 friends. Yes? She has 1 friend. Los puedo contar. She has 27 friends. Next example. There is a negative statement. There aren't many people there. Aunque esté negativo, yo podría contar. ¿Cuál es el sustantivo contable aquí? People. Don't forget that people is the plural form of person. Ese es el sustantivo contable, people. Esa es una forma en plural de decir persona. Entonces ahí no dice persona, dice personas. ¿Ok? Many people. Yo puedo contar a las personas. And to create a interrogative element, interrogative sentence. How many properties do you own? Yo puedo contar. El sustantivo contable son las propiedades. Si se dan cuenta, ¿qué es lo que les decía que tenía en común con con el video, con el primer video que vimos? We got here in common that many is used for elements that can be countable, that end with an S, friends, properties. What happened with people? People is over there. Person, it's an irregular noun, so its plural is people. Aunque persona es un sustantivo irregular, entonces su plural sería people in English. En español es personas. And here we got much, fun, no tiene S, sleep, no tiene S, money, no tiene S. Si colocáramos aquí en dinero, colocáramos los billetes, se vendría para esta columna. How many bills, billetes, do you have? Sería en esta columna. And let me start with the practice here. How? People are there. Don't forget, we can count people. Las podemos contar, sí. So the correct answer is yes, many. Con many hablamos de los sustantivos contables porque podemos contar a las personas. Next one. She has many or much pets. This is the noun. The correct answer is many too. ¿Por qué many, teacher? Porque podemos contar las mascotas. Aquí puedo colocar un número. She has 3 pets. 3 mascotas. O muchas. Many pets. Siguiente. You are talking to, you are talking too many or too much. You are talking to ¿Qué ocurre aquí? Yo no puedo contar el cuánto estoy hablando, pero sí puedo decir que estoy hablando mucho. ¿Mm? Es incontable, ¿ok? Talking, el verbo. No puedo contar el verbo de cuánto estoy hablando. Esto suena un poquito raro, pero es así. There aren't there aren't trees in the park. Aren't trees in the park. What is the noun here? Park, yes, but trees too. El sustantivo que estamos contando es trees, árboles. Can you count um, trees? ¿Pueden contar los árboles? Claro que sí. So, the answer is many. ¿Mm? And the last one. How money do you make? ¿Mm? Can you count the money? No. We can count the bills, the coins, but not the money as element, as a noun. So we use much. That's an easy video, students. So now, my dear students, I hope that you are understanding here the activity. We got concepts as how many, how much, there is, there are, some, a, and. And to continue with this practice, I am going to share the entire links that we use in this class. To continue with this practice, we will play with, but stop, wait. I am going to look for another. Voy a buscarles otro. No quiero colocar el mismo que tengo yo aquí, sino que voy a buscarles otro jueguito que viene siendo, o sea, misma temática, pero esta no. Misma temática, pero ¿dónde están? Ay, no las veo. Pero diferente jueguito. Aquí está. ¿Por qué? Pues porque quiero que ustedes jueguen el otro solitos. Yes. And countable food here. So we got countable and uncountable with is and are. Yes. In this case, the mm, game is about food. We are talking about food, and we will review this topic like this. The rice tasty, okay? Is or are. We are using here just to be. Pay attention. We can count the pieces of rice, but not the entire rice. So the rice is. Yes. Espero que me hayan entendido eso. Contamos cada porcioncita de arroz, pero no todo el arroz. No podemos. Here, salmon. Is or are expensive? Is, yes, it's in singular form. Okay, an orange citrus fruit is or are. Yes, because it's a singular or a element, singular fruit. Oranges full of vitamin C. Oranges full of vitamin C. In this case, we got this clue, the S. Tenemos esta S aquí, ¿se acuerdan? It's in plural, so the answer is are. This is not the same game that you will play on your class. This is an alternative game. Orange juice, good for you. What happened here? Can you count the orange juice or the orange glass or just the glass is. Okay? Be careful with what I am saying to you. Peppers. Hmm? Fruits, not vegetables. Peppers, fruits, not vegetables. Can you count peppers? Yes, we can take one of pepper, two peppers, three peppers, etc. So are. They are in plural. I love peppers. I love chili peppers too. Pepper, a kind of spice. In this case, we got the same word but in singular form. Is. What happened here? Pepper are a kind of a spice. Yes, my bad. That was my mistake. I am going to research what happened with that because pepper, mm, we can count pepper. We can count the glass of pepper. Dark chocolate, good for you. Dark chocolate, are or is? Yes, I hesitate. Yes, is in this case. Next one. These chocolates very popular in the United Kingdom. Yes, in this case, it's an easy statement because we got the S, chocolates, plural, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 27. Next one. This is a challenge for me too. This chocolate, a toffee chocolate. Wow, is or are? I can watch just one, so I'm going you to select is. Yes, that's all. So I got one mistake. The entire answers. My mistake was here. And here. Pepper, it's a kind of a spice. Okay, let me put currents here. Pepper. Yes, I can. Pepper is similar to sugar, yes? Mm? Pepper is similar to sugar, so yes, I needed to think and make a white of my things here. I need to I needed to pay it more attention to the entire and to the current idea of what a pepper is. Tuve que haberle puesto más cuidado. Es igual que el azúcar. Nosotros no contamos cada granito de azúcar, no, sino como tal. Yes, that was my mistake. I hope that you don't have that errors when you play your game. And then after that, I am going to share with you this this Padlet. What is it? Whoa. Ah, here it is. Yes, this Padlet. In you are going to create your own recipe. Yes, van a crear su propia receta. Van a colocar las cantidades. Creen una receta. Bueno, pueden colocar algo que ya exista. You can put a recipe that is exist already. So don't forget to use quantities, how many, how much, or many, much. There are the previous concept that we learned here, okay? I am going to make you an example, yes. Okay, I'm not a good chef, but I will try. My recipe is, I don't know. Okay, chocolate cake. Mm. I am going to need some sugar, mm, eh, 5 spoons of sugar. Spoons of sugar. I am going to need some flour and perhaps, mm, I don't know, 2 cups of flour. I will need, uh, I don't know what happened. I know how to create a chocolate cake. I'll need chocolate cream, perhaps. You have to write what you need for your recipe, and how do you um, create, how do you mix the ingredients until the point that you have the entire recipe. Okay, sorry about, I am not a good chef, but I am going to share with you this link, and then I'll check what you write to create your recipe. Yes, and to finish this activity, you have to answer this questionnaire. That's an easy questionnaire that was created by him with an AI. Okay, dear students, let me help you with just two questions and two answers. So we got here, which of these words it's a countable noun? A countable noun. Computer, water, sugar or love. And here below we got a clue. Aquí tenemos una pequeña pista. Think about which one you can easily make plural by adding an S. So what if I add an S here? Computers, waters, sugars, loves. That's a clue for you. Countable noun. Can I count the computer? The computers? The water, the sugar, the love. Here happens something what I um, did with the pepper. So be careful with that. Can you count the sugar, the water? You can count computers. Yes. Okay. You can have one, two, or many individual computers. And the next one, just two, you will complete the 10 questions. And finally, you take a screenshot of your score and send me by chat, okay? The next one, it says, how do we correctly ask about the amount of money someone has? Wow, a challenge here. Ask correctly. Ask correctly ask about amount. This is a strange word, cantidad of money someone has. We use how many money do you have? How many monies do you have? How much bills do you have? How much money do you have? Wow. I am going to write the clue. It says, remember that money is the whole concept, not the individual coins. I told you, we got money as a whole concept, not one bills, two bills, no, one coin, two coins, no. So this is an uncountable. Yes, we use many or much for uncountable. Do we use many or do we use much? Yes. Do we use much? But we got two options with much. How much bills do you have? How much money do you have? Here in the questions, there is, what happened with my brain in this moment? The answer, money. Yes. Okay. How much money do you have? What happened here? I use much because much is the expression to talk about uh, uncountable nouns. And my question said money. So I used money on my answer. My question, I am not going to be required about bells, not money. Okay, dear students, and here, that's all that you have to do in our first part of the class, okay? Eso es todo lo que tenemos que hacer en la primera parte de la clase. Chicos, son dos partes de la clase. Esta primera es una secuencia didáctica. Por favor, les pido que me envíen sus respuestas por el chat. Yo les voy a enviar todos los links ahí, seguiditos, taca, 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 para que ustedes vean el video. Pink, link. Ven el video, pues esta grabación al link. me van desarrollando las actividades, toman pantallazo de que las desarrollaron, de su resultado, y lo envían al, aquí por el chat, simplemente le dan copia. Bueno, pantallazo, pegar, ¿listo? Si quieren, si ustedes quieren, pueden enviarme todos en uno, como así, profe, los pueden pegar en un Word aparte. No, mentiras, no nos compliquemos, como quieran pegarlos. Now, my students, I am going to start with the second part of the class. And in this case, goodbye, let me close here this windows. And in this case, we are going to change the topic. First, take a deep breath. Vamos a respirar profundamente porque vamos a cambiar de temática. ¿Ok? Esta puede que sea una temática un poco compleja. Vamos a seguir la secuencia de lo que llevábamos antes. Entonces, hasta aquí va la primera parte de la clase. Continuando, como les decía, vamos a continuar con una segunda parte de la clase. Pero, por favor, déjenme por aquí yo reviso, descargo como PowerPoint. Listo. Ahí se está descargando. Algo que tengo por aquí para ustedes. Y no te demores mucho, descarguita, descarga, descarga. La siguiente parte de la clase, les quiero hacer como un contexto. Habíamos hablado de verbos, habíamos hablado de verbos modales y también estuvimos hablando acerca de este, condicionales. Zero conditional, first conditional, and third conditional. Okay? So, my dear students, for this part of the class, we are going to start with another topic called second conditional. Yes? So, let me share my screen with you. Here is second conditional. This is another. Can you watch? Yes, like this. This will be another topic that is necessary and mandatory to recognize in English grammar. The second conditional, yes, we will master the grammar of the unreal and the unlikely and the impossible um, elements, impossible ideas, okay? We use second conditional for that. How to change here? Okay, yes, yes. Two ways to live reality. Hmm? We use second conditional to talk about unreal, impossible, or elements that probably no won't happen. Hmm? Here, unreal, unlikely future. Pay attention to the structure. Yes, first, when we talk about dreaming about or better dreaming about things that probably won't happen. In previous class we talk about what this won't means. Okay, this is negative future form. And I got as in the other conditionals and statement, a main statement, and a clause better, and a result of that clause. Pay attention to this sentence to identify the structure. If, if this is the uh, particle if, I won the lottery. The result, I will buy a big house. I probably won't win the lottery. This is unreal statement, unreal first part of the sentence. An impossible present, other way. Altering facts that are currently impossible. Be careful with that. A couple of concepts, probably and impossible. If I had his number, I would call him. So let's check the structure of this couple of sentences. Better first. What is the first one? Probably. I probably won't win, but there is a minimum probability that I won the lottery. And here, what is impossible? Because I don't have his number, so it's impossible to call him. This is the structure, okay? The clause if with past simple statement. Dear students, the clause part is in past simple, so we need to recognize, we need to identify a lot of verbs in past simple tense. Mm? Uh, don't forget that verbs in past simple, we can identify them in two big sets or groups, better groups, irregular and regular verbs. We need to mm, have a lot of knowledge about regular and irregular verbs. What if I don't recognize verbs in irregular and irregular are verbs in past tense? Don't forget that some classes ago I gave you a list of verbs. In that list of verbs, you are able or you will find the forms of the verbs in past simple, identifying the column that is called past simple. Yes, golden rule for this part. Why is there a past tense verb? The rule is counterintuitive. I am going to say you something about counterintuitive with this one. We use past simple, yes, past simple, to talk about imagined, present, or future. This is counterintuitive because this part is in past and this could be in future or present. Voy a decirlo en español para que lo entendamos aquí. Esto de contraintuitivo, pues es porque mi cláusula está en pasado, pero me va a hablar sobre una probabilidad o una imposibilidad en futuro o en presente. Pay attention to the. I'm sorry. Here, what about the result? In the result, we are going to use, obviously, here, we're using this example, a subject, a noun, followed by this modal verb would or could or might. Okay, we got three forms: would, could, might. So with that, we can use or talk about present or future. Would and a base verb following by easy complement. We need to identify that in the result of this um, conditional would, we need to use would, should, would, could, or might. Pay attention to this example. If you studied, this verb is an irregular verb, so mm, isn't written as study, is studied. Está en pasado simple, no dice estudiar, dice estudió o estudiabas, estudiaste. Está en pasado. If you studied, si tú estudiaste, it's probably that you would pass the exam. Pasarías, si hubieras, bueno, si estudiabas, pasarías el examen. So this is the result of counterintuitive past, future, probably future. I hope that you understand this part. Let me review. The clause is if and a sentence in past simple. The result would plus base verb and a complement. Okay? The reversible structure. In this part, we are going to talk about how to use the comma, okay? And how or where we don't use the comma. It's similar as the other conditional structures. If you start with the F clause, we need to add comma in the middle or after the result. If it snowed next July, comma, would you be surprised? Okay, we got here an simple past, comma, and a result. Would you be surprised? A question, could be a question, yes, could be. On the other hand, we don't use comma when we start with the result. Would you be surprised? Hmm? Would you be surprised if it snowed next July? It's a question, yes, but we are interchanging the order of the structure. Yes, don't forget that. Close order doesn't change the meaning, but it changed the punctuation. Drop the comma when the result would comes first. So the meaning is the same, but we need to identify when to use the comma and when don't use the comma. Okay, next one. Okay, here is another important, very important part of this structure, subjunctive shift. Shift. In the formal second conditional, the verb to be shifts. You need to identify what this verb is, shift. I sometimes use shift to Spanish. It's similar to change, okay? Was becomes were for all subjects. So we don't use was. We don't use was. We use were. This is another of that kind of um, grammatical changes that make our brains uh, explode. I am going to explain this in Spanish because it's necessary. Resulta que hay un cambio con el verbo to be cuando utilizamos el segundo condicional. No vamos a utilizar was, se convierte en were para todos los pronombres. I, he, she, it will use with were. Usarán were. Okay? And here we got an example. Okay? If she, here we got to be verb in past tense, but commonly we said if she was happy. Now, in this case, we use were. Be careful with that, dear students. Were, if she were, just for second conditional, or at least at this moment, we use were. If she were happy in her job, comma. This part is the clause part of the statement. The result, she wouldn't be looking for another one. What happened here? Why I am using here be? Because would is a modal verb. When you use modal verb, don't forget rules of modal verbs. 3 classes ago, I think. When you use modal verbs, the next verb must be in its base form. Okay? If she were happy in her job, she wouldn't be looking for another one, okay? This is a probability. The advice exception, okay. The exact phrase, if I were you, is the standard way to give advice in English. If I were you, I'd look for a new place to live. What happened here? I is working with where, as I was telling to you, and here I. This is the contraction of would. Hmm? Careful with that. Next one. Okay, as I was telling to you some minutes ago, we got could, would, or might to use in second conditional. Could, would, or might. The most common second conditional modal verb is would, but we had this couple of possibilities. Could, might. Okay, so what if I use would? It's a definite result, okay? Definite result is using for definite results. If I had the chance, I would do it differently, okay? What if I use could? Could is used um, for is using for ability or permission. We learned this some classes ago when we talk about modal verbs. If I want $1 million, I could stop working. Hmm? This could be a ability, yes. On the other hand, and to finish this part, If I use might, it's a possibility. Okay? If I spoke to him directly, this sentence is in past tense, this clause is in past tense, and the result, it's a possibility. I might be able to persuade him. Hmm? So, definite result, would. Ability or permission, could and might, possibility. Yes? Pay attention and be careful with that part of the uses of these three models in your structure. Here, we got something like a contrast, yes, between first conditional and second conditional. And what could be the attitude of the person or people that is being involved in this couple of situations, first or second conditional. The first one, first conditional, we use that conditional in our previous class, is the optimist person, okay? It's the optimist because it's something like a person that had a positive vision about a future, okay? Real, highly possible. The formula here was if, simple present tense, and well, and we got here an example. If I win the lottery, I'll buy a big house. So that's a optimist point of view. hmm? John's point of view. John can really thinks he has a chance. It's a optimist person. On the other hand, we got second conditional. This is about a dreamer person. This it's so hard that occurs. Yes. So is the dreamer. It's called the dreamer. Attitude, unreal or unlikely. Formula, I told I told you if past simple tense, then we got would plus verb result. Mark's view. If I won, yes, this is in past tense, I won the lottery, I would buy a big house or I'd buy a big house. Hmm? He's a dreamer. Marx know it's just a pipe dream. This is something that could never happen. Yes, I hope that you understand that. Optimist and the dreamer. So when we are using second conditional, think as a dreamer. If you want to talk about something in could be happen but isn't possible, you're a dreamer, so use second conditional. Well, next one. Okay, we got here just the structure, the structure, and let's check and let's practice. If he, don't forget, we said to be verb. In our brains, I am really aware that we are tempted to say if he has younger, but don't forget, in second conditional, we use were. If he were younger, if he were younger, comma, he would travel more. Mm? It's he's a dreamer because he isn't younger. Next one. If we need to identify this verb in past simple tense. Boy is okay. Stop. My bad. I start here with the result. I start here with the result. So I need to add would. I start here with the result and then the clause. If we would buy, yes, we would buy. And here, yes, we got a verb, a regular verb. So we just add D. If we, I'm sorry, we would buy a house if we decide to stay here. Okay? Easy. Be careful with that because my bad was that I identified here the comma, but I start here. It was the clause, but it wasn't the clause. This is the result. The clause, it's ending this statement, so we don't add comma. Next one. This is a question, okay? What, and here we need to put the subject in the middle of would and the verb. Subject between would and do. What would you do if you past past form of won the lottery? Yes. Wow, dear students, this is a mm, intensive. This is a intensive topic. So please let's read while I take a deep breath. So we got here three more examples, but in which we need to identify if the first or second condition. Okay, please eat your soup. If you here is a command. hmm, a command, please eat your soup. If you don't eat, this is first conditional. If you don't eat your soup, it will go cold. This is a um, this is not about a point of view of a dreamer, but it could be making reality. And in this case, we got second conditional. Think as a dreamer. If I were Minister of Finance, if I were, yes, Minister of Finance, this isn't real. I am not Minister of Finance, so this is impossible. I would increase taxation. Hmm? I can do that. It's an imagined scenario. I can't do that because I am not Minister of Finance. So this is second conditional. If I were Minister of Finance, I would increase taxation. And finally, this is another impossible scenario. The phone isn't working. Hmm? The phone isn't working. This is the first the context. So if the phone were working, if the phone were working, I could I could call you, but the phone, I'm sorry, isn't working, so it's impossible that happens. So with that, my dear students, we finish. No, no, not that. This last slide. So this is a review. We use second conditional to describe an impossible present or unlikely future. Okay, this is the use, the form, the structure, if, simple, subject, would, could, or might, plus base verb and a complement, an easy complement. So don't forget that commas dropped when the if clause moves to the middle. We can change the structure starting with the result and leaving the clause at the end of the sentence. And pro tip, we use to be verb were for all the subjects here. Were, don't use was. Second conditional, in real, imagine. And that's the long explanation. I am really sure that was long explanation about a second conditional structure, dear students. Wow, it was intensive. I am really worried about that. It was intensive. Please, if you don't remember, if you don't catch some idea, um, rewind the video. And now we are going to practice. Yes, that was intensive. Let's practice with what is my game here? Here. Don't forget that this practice wouldn't be shared with you. I am going to share with you another practice, a different practice, okay? So we got the practice. Can you watch my screen? Yes, you can watch it. I hope it. I hope that you watch my screen. So let me start with this second conditional practice. It wasn't, or pay attention, I got here the comma. I guess that in this page we got some mistakes. I don't know. Could be. It. I say that wouldn't be, or wasn't, or weren't. So cool. Be careful with that. Hmm? I am going to apply here the logic, but I think if you, but I think that we got here some errors or the page. If I close past simple, didn't is past simple, comma, comma, would. Yes. What? This is a question. What? Hmm? Close past simple. So I got here would. This is not hard because it's easy. Number four, we. I start with the result. The result. We won't ask if it wasn't. What happened here? What happened with this page? I am going to share with you another page, but don't forget that we use weren't. No, wasn't. But I don't know. Hmm? Never mind. Where? Another question. Where would you go if you were on holidays? I passed. I didn't buy the tickets if Paula, and like this. Let me check this couple of sentences again. And I start with simple past, then, okay, simple and simple. No, my bad. It wouldn't be so cold if you closed the windows. Yes? Or it wasn't if you would close the windows. If is with past simple, close. So wouldn't be. It wouldn't be so cold if you closed the window. And what was the order? Let me check. Here, yes. If with past simple, and here, yes. Is it correct? Okay, we are going to check. Yes. What happened here? The last one. I, if with past simple, yes, was my bad again. Yes, if with past simple, if that's my clue. I combine if with past simple. Check again, 91%, but I got we weren't if it weren't necessary. Yes, dear students, I am going to share with you this page, not the same page, the same activity, but another activity. And don't forget to take some screenshots and send me your results, okay? Send me your results by chat. And to finish, yes, it's time to finish our class, dear students. We are going to develop this last activity. This is the last activity. It's a writing activity. A writing activity. And we got a worksheet using second conditional. We got here a review if, past simple conditional, and the result using would. Don't forget all that we learned in this session, okay? Read this statement. We use the second condition for real situations in the future that are not impossible but difficult to come true. Some examples here. And here is the activity. When you finish this 18 statements. You are going to push here in finish, and the page will give you a score, and you must share that score with me. Two examples. If Linda, okay, we got here if, so here we need to write the past simple condition. In this case, be the past simple of be for second conditional is were. Yes, if Linda were here, I'm sure she, and here we are going to write the model would and the base verb form help. Yes, if Linda were here, I'm sure she would help us. Let's continue. What? Here, I don't start with the clause, with the condition. I start with the result. So I need to use would, what would, yes, what would the base verb form do? What would do? Hmm. What would you do? Yes. What would you do if you, and here we need to write the verb in past form. What is the past of see? So, dear students, don't forget, if you don't have an idea about how to write the verbs in past form, use the list of verbs that I gave to you. Let me check this couple of elements, this couple of sentences. I am really sure about the first one, but what would you do if you saw a ghost? Yes. So you are going to complete the entire sheet, the entire tool, and finally you will push in finish. Check my answers. Um, the validating of this worksheet takes just some seconds, 10 seconds, yes, and then you will send your score to the chat. Okay, so in my case, check results. Okay, I don't complete the entire questionnaire, but yes, the two options that I developed were correct. So this is a question. Don't forget in questions would, subject, and then the verb. What do you have to do? This is the result. Obviously, I received a bad grade, so you must take a screenshot of your answer and send me that result by chat. Okay, dear students. Wow. So for today, thank you so much. And wait. Just the last thing. The last thing. What is? Mm, I'm looking for here. I am going to send it to you. This infographic too. Wow, that's a kawaii infographic. Let me share with you this infographic. What is it? I don't know what happened with my computer today. Okay, here is it. And here we got an infographic about second conditional. Okay, I am going to share it with you. Dream big with the second conditional. Easy peasy to practice, to recognize the structure, to use were instead of was, to change the comma or to shift the comma. And that's all, dear students. We got here a comparison with first conditional too. That's all. So with this screen, let me say you that thank you so much to stay here with me. Don't forget that the next Thursday we don't have a class because it's a holiday. I hope that you enjoy your vacations, and let's see the next week in our common schedule. Yes, Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Thank you, dear students, and it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye.